This episode of the MOC Squad was filmed in front of a live, members-only audience. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the PGS. Welcome to this, the MOC Squad, the members-only chat with the amazing, the incomparable Viceroy of Verisimilitude himself, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Welcome, Rob.
Well, Mr. Suarez, it's great to be here, and I once again have to give you all the credit in the world for the greatest thumbnails of all. You know, I have a hard enough time being myself, but to be the entire Thunderbolts team. Well,
yeah, well, thank you. I know I just couldn't decide, Rob. You know, it's which one represents Rob the best. You know, it really Rob is too grand. Your grandness is too broad to just be one
you could
of
think
the Thunderbolts.
I mean, if each Thunderbolt is a facet of my personality,
perfect.
You know, definitely Florence Pugh represents the fantasy aspect. You know, somebody took me to task. You know, I talked about how I have a crush on Florence Pugh. She's 29 years old. And they're like, you know, I find that really creepy that you would say that because of the gender gap. I'm like, I don't know her.
Oh, gosh.
I'm talking about like her persona on like, I mean, I when I was 20 years old, I fantasized about 45-year-old women on the screen.
Right.
You know, when I saw The Hunger in 1983, I'm like, you know, I was 16 in 83.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I wanted to hook up with 42-year-old Catherine Deneuve.
No kidding.
When I was 22, I did date a 42-year-old, so that was all good.
Hey, you know, stranger things have happened. Look at who's that? Bill Belichick from the. I mean, so love is love, right?
Is it though?
I don't know. Sometimes it does get a little.
But it's just weird, you know. You can't a fictional character.
Fictional, exactly.
And I was talking about how I'm attracted to people's faces, and she has a great face. Plus, she was great in Thunderbolts.
And she's you know, she's charming as all heck. I don't know about you, but I just find her personality and the way her characters, whenever you hear her, she's incredibly charming. So
she's absolutely charming. She's got the personality.
Not just about the looks. She just seems like she would be a blast to hang out with.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing. Lots of people are beautiful, but no, that's why, you know, and I feel the same way about Kate Winslet.
Correct.
Whenever I see Kate Winslet on interviews or something, that she's
you just know she'd be a blast to hang out.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, for those of you who are here, welcome. If you are a member, you should be able to check your the members section of the Burnettwork on YouTube and get the link there to join the actual chat, so you can hop in here for 7 minutes of individual time with RMB himself, and you get to have a little bit of chat time, a little bit of questioning, argumentation, whatever you want to say. I will be bringing in people in the order in which they are received in the queue. And when you come into the Zoom room, you raise your hand. There's a raise your hand feature in Zoom that lets me know who is next on the queue. That might look different than other people's queues. I go by the queue that's on my list so that I keep it as fair as possible there. Rob, before we get started, I know that all the news has been Thunderbolts and Sinners and stuff, but I wanted to point out to you a new TV series that just started in Netflix from Argentina. It's called The Eternal.
I know. It's based on a comic book.
Based on an Argentinian comic book. Eternauta. I've already seen the first 4 episodes. It is very, very good. I highly recommend it to sci-fi.
And it goes to interesting places. I when I first saw a trailer for like 6 months ago, I did some research, and I have not yet watched it yet, but I just saw that it popped up.
It just showed up, and I think, you know, I don't know how much advertising it gets in the U.S. market as opposed to in the Latin American market. So I just wanted to make sure that people were aware of it, because it's very good.
It looks like it's beautifully made too.
It's beautifully filmed. It's got the probably Argentina's greatest actor of all time, Ricardo Darín, plays the lead. He was in Argentina 1977. I don't know if you remember that film from a few years back, but
I didn't see that.
He played like the lead attorney in that movie, and he's been in a ton of other Argentinian film productions for many years. So more than likely, if you've seen an Argentinian film, you've seen him because he tends to be in a lot of them. But it's very good. It's very good, and it's an interesting new take. Interesting take on the whole post-apocalyptic situation. So highly recommend that you check it out. All right. So now that I've got that little, and I'm not getting paid by the Ed or not. This is just I'm a big fan of the comic.
Well, we always get like if we like promoting it, it's like, oh, you're a shill, you're paid shit.
Well, and it's funny because I had heard about it because I was following some Spanish media, right? And so I hadn't seen barely anything in U.S. media about it. So being that it's sci-fi,
and the comic is not a recent comic.
No, it's the writer. Yeah, it's I want to say 60s. You know, it's definitely from some time ago.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and admit all of our friends who have joined us here today. Welcome, everybody. Everybody should be pouring in. There we go. Hello. Brian, Victor, Dan, Stubble McShay, 1001 Johnny. So many of you joining us here today. Welcome. As that happens, I'm going to go ahead and put Rob front and center here so that we have Rob in the middle of the chat here. There you are.
Hello.
And
is there anybody in there?
We are starting things off today with Krizik, who has his hand raised quick and ready at the ready here. So let's go ahead and I am having trouble. And Krizik, you should be able to join us now. Welcome.
Hey.
What's up, dude?
All the things and none of the things, dude. Hey, let me just get this out of the way first. Two things. First off, you are occupied, sir. I want you to know that.
I'm occupied?
You were occupied.
By
and you're not fit, apparently, in your last observation. So I just wanted to repeat that for you, for anyone else that wasn't saying that. You know. I'll just say it.
Yeah, that's very funny.
Second, I sent you an email now that I know which email to send because I needed your mailing address to send you from my studio your actual birthday gift. This coming 15th. But I can't do that if I don't know where Major Chai sends her stuff, and I want that access. So
yes.
So
if you sent me an email, I will send you that.
Yes, I sent it to both the places that I have emails for you. So
all right.
So there you go. So without further ado, I want.
By the way, Major Chai sent me my new favorite thing, which is a Japanese aerospace company's genuine sushi cup, like a wooden cup the Japanese cup you drink sushi out of.
Damn you, Major Chai. Okay, I'm not saying that would have been your birthday gift. I'm just saying, look, there's things. So Major Chai, she pulled rank on me yet again.
Well. I don't think she's here yet, or if she's probably seeing Thunderbolts with her kids.
Most likely. But speaking of Thunderbolts, I want to address the elephant in the room. I've been hearing so much about it. I've got my thoughts on it, but I'm not even going to share them. Instead, what I'm going to do is this, and it's going to be something that you had said on Robservations, which is how you kind of capped everything off. And I don't want to put any spoilers out there because there's some folks here in the chat that haven't seen it yet that are going to be seeing it later this week. So I'll just say this: you like what you like, and here's why. If I'll do my normal thing of like just look straight in my face. There you go. So here's why you like what you like. Resident Evil, the video game, is nothing like Resident Evil, the movie.
No.
All right. Now I like
any
both
of the
these
series.
properties. None of the series. I like both of these properties. Now, Will, Critical Drinker, he would hate me for saying that, and the guys over at Residents of Evil would also equally hate me for saying that, and they'd have every right to. Because I'm an old OG stan, older than Will is in terms of I was selling Resident Evil way back in another life.
Sure.
Abbage's Software in another lifetime. So So yeah, I've got a lot of very deep experience with this, but these things are not the same. They are just in title only movies and games and properties that people enjoy. The same thing goes with this. The recent thing, Until Dawn, is nothing like the video game Until Dawn. It's nothing like the movie Until Dawn. Side note, the writers for that did try at some midway point with the film to try to give you a bit of like a allegorical reference to depression in the first half. They kind of fell apart. If you saw the movie, you saw the movie. You probably might have picked up on some of those references. Fun fact, it's sort of a throwback to the movie Identity. If you remember how that worked with the rain. I'm not
James Mangold.
There you go. So there's that. And then of course, this, you'll notice I changed the symbol. It's similar to, but nothing like the comics. I like both of these properties. I like these movies. I like the schlockiness of Stallone's version. And yes, I know about him needing to show his face. And yes, I love the other Dredd because that person chose not to show his face and stay in character.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I totally agree with you. I did not like Rob Schneider in Stallone's Judge Dredd, but I love the design of it, and the supporting cast is amazing.
Absolutely.
And you know, it was, I thought it was a fun. I like it a lot more than I like Demolition Man.
You mean you don't know about Taco Bell, Rob? Come on. It's
no, I mean, but I agree with you. I think both of those, but you're right. They're not like the comics. No, and RoboCop is more like a Judge Dredd comic than either one of the Judge Dredd movies are.
So said Jim Davison, which is why he was an awesome producer for that film.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on, that is why for me, I actually, was I was already in the military, and I picked this up off the newsstand at that point. Thunderbolts, first issue.
Sure.
It's nothing like Thunderbolts, or as I like to call it, Mental Bolts, the movie. Yeah, and look, I'm saying that in jest. Please don't get upset if you really liked it. Again, the whole point of this is that if you like what you like, it doesn't matter what I or any other talking head on YouTube or social media says about these things, right? You're going to enjoy the film for what it is, or the property, or whatever it is for what it is, and be fine with that. The only caveat I have for me is when a corporation says, okay, we are now, since we hold the property, we are going to tell you that what you saw in 1977 didn't happen, and we're going to inject our thing, whatever that is, into the thing you grew up with, and say you have to like that now. And if you are critical of that, you're the problem. That I don't like. And I know you've seen that happen time and time again, not just with the MCU stuff, but with a lot of stuff, with Star Trek specifically. Like someone was trying to tell me why you can drink something and turn it into a Vulcan. I had that conversation at my studio, and I had to walk away because I was about to punch something, and I didn't want to get in trouble with HR. But you get it if you get it, I guess, for the rest of the people that don't get that reference.
Yep.
So, anyways, that's in summation for me. This was what I felt Thunderbolts was like right here. There you go. So Thunderbolts is not equal to, but it's very similar to my fanfic, Black Widow, Electric Boogaloo. There you go.
Well, it was definitely, I mean, I thought Thunderbolts was an actual legitimate sequel to Black Widow, and indeed probably made the Black Widow movie go up in value in terms of my estimation.
Yeah, pretty much. I
mean, the funny thing, I just think the funny thing about these, again, I've been talking a lot about watching films at scale and expecting having realistic expectations about. I mean, I think it came once we pass, and I use Jurassic Park as the demarcation point for this. Yeah. That there have been times in genre film history, and Star Wars to me is the demarcation point between the beginning of cinema up to 1977 with new effects technology, with motion control cameras, with everything they did in Star Wars, the lived-in look. That was a demarcation point for the rest up until the present day.
Well, see, now
genre.
What about Silent Running though? Wouldn't you argue that came a little bit before?
No, I mean, look, you could say 2001, Silent Running, all of those things are true. But the thing about Silent Running was, it was shot mostly on an aircraft carrier. So it wasn't, I mean, look, I love seeing the domes, and all of that was great, but I think that still belonged to the before time. And in terms of because, you know, Huey, Dewey, and Louie were still, you know what it was? It was the dichotomy between 3PO and R2D2 that moved Star Wars into a different level than what Silent Running or 2001 brought to the proceedings. And I would say that while those films were definitely leading up somewhere, I don't think the whole fantasy realm was cracked until you get to Star Wars, in terms of the worlds, in terms of the production design, in terms of where it takes you. But I mean, I love Silent Running, and I love 2001, and I love Dark Star. You know, I would say in a way, Dark Star is closer to Star Wars than Silent Running in a way, you know, but it's a combination of different things. But basically you're getting to the point where after Star Wars, everybody expects 100% from all of their movies. Now it's either 100% or it sucks. And I find that to be, I mean, if I grew up, like I went and saw like Black Moon Rising, and I'm like, I thought that was pretty cool, you know? And growing up in the before time, most movies were not 100%, especially genre films, both horror and sci-fi. And when you would see them, you knew like that was the exception to the rule. But when you live in a post Jurassic Park world or a post The Matrix world or whatever, everything has to be either 100% or nothing. And I think that what I liked about Thunderbolts was, first of all, it was unexpected, you know, because everyone's talking about it like Guardians of the Galaxy. And if you think about Thunderbolts, it really is a movie that takes place in basically, like, there's a few other locations, but it's like a 3 set piece movie with smaller things in between. And I thought that was kind of refreshing. And I really enjoyed, I just enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot more than I expected to. And you know, is it a movie that's going to change your life? Is it top tier Marvel? No, but I think it succeeded in doing what it set out to do. And that's, I think, a win. And that filmmaker was it Frank and I, the director, Jack Schaefer, the Frank Langella robot movie, Robot and Frank from 2012, which I really liked. And I thought, I get why they hired him to direct Thunderbolts. And I thought that was a good match, the same way James Gunn was a good match to do Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Russo brothers were a good match to do Winter Soldier. And I thought that was Kevin Feige returning to form by picking out somebody who had a lot of TV experience, but had made a few features. And it was like, that guy's going to direct this movie. And it made me excited for the rest of the MCU. So
great to see you, Krizik. Hey, apologies if you hear drumming on the background. My son is playing the drums, so apologies if there's a disruption there with that. And I figured I would first of all wanted to read just say Jimmy Jones became a new member, so I want to thank him for that, and also remind folks if you want to send super chats or tips that you can do that. As well, and we'll be happy to share those. Next up, we've got Victor Griggs, and on deck we've got Brian Erdy. So just to keep you posted, but Victor, you will be the next one joining us here. So welcome to the chat.
What up, dude? Sorry I missed you.
Hey,
what's going on?
Hey, sorry we missed each other. I know you're busy, bro.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know. Did you call me when you got here?
I sent you an email.
Oh, I didn't see it. That's too bad.
Yeah, I had an awesome time, bro. Did you hear about FanFest in Universal?
Yeah, is that where you went?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Did you go on the bridge? Did you go on the bridge of the Enterprise D?
Yes, I had a orgasm. It was awesome.
Oh, did you clean up your wheelchair? Because that would be gross. If you did.
I had to. It was so awesome, man. Because I never got to experience the one in Vegas that you helped create.
Did you send it to me at my email?
Oh, I said I never got to experience the one that in Vegas that you got to,
Oh, right. The yes. My name was on that one, by the way.
yeah, so I missed that boat, but that was an awesome experience. And I got to took a tour of Warner Brothers.
Oh yeah.
That
So
was
did you get to see all the Batmobiles?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And also at FanFest, they had an interactive Back to the Future thing where you could interact with the characters. It was so cool.
That's cool, man. It sounds like you had a great trip then.
Yeah. I have a video on my Instagram of me visiting the bridge of the Enterprise D.
I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, it's awesome. By the way, I finished True Noir. Awesome, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you got to finish it.
Yeah, I really felt like I was immersed in the story. I really felt like I was there. So you and your crew did your thing.
Well, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. I most of the time people see me sitting in here doing shows, but I was sitting in here for 6 months editing that. So
Wow.
it was quite the amount of work. And the soundtrack album, I've been working on that. I had to learn how to make a new skill. I learned a new skill, how to make a master for a CD. So the CD for True Noir, it's a double CD set. It's going to have a 24-page booklet with the liner notes. Jeff Bond, who wrote like the music of Star Trek, and he wrote the double volume Jerry Goldsmith book that's coming out. He wrote the liner notes, and
Nice.
it's a pretty great soundtrack album, 35 tracks.
Where can we order that?
Well, it goes to Kickstarter donors, but then we'll have more after that. But since I know you, maybe I can hook you up with a copy of it.
That will,
If you have a CD player, it'll also be available as a digital download.
Yeah,
So
I do have a CD player.
It'll be a good artifact of an older time,
Yeah.
a simpler time.
I'm old enough to remember cassette tapes.
Oh, for shame. Cassette tapes, man. Come on now.
Yeah. So, I know you are working on probably a movie that you can't talk about, but any other projects you got cooking?
Well, I've always got something going on. I mean, there's, right now I'm kind of back into the seeing what sticks phase. I mean, I've mentioned it, we do have a True Noir feature film script that's set in 1947 that deals with the lipstick murders in Chicago. That is based on a novella that Max Allan Collins wrote called Dying in the Post-War World. And I'd like to do that in 2026. So we're in the preliminary stages of discussing that, but the script is really good, and hopefully we will get it made. We just have to find the money. But we would be, of course, shooting it in Illinois. It takes place in and around Chicago. And my plan, because the funny thing is that I was explaining that when you want to make a movie, you just say you're going to make the movie, like you decide to go do it, and then it's just a question of getting all the things in place you need to go make the movie. We have the script, a good script. That's half the battle. We don't have the money to make it. We have what we want to be our lead actor, and then we're going to move forward as if we're going to shoot it. And I said we're going to start shooting it in the last week of February of 2026. So there's still snow on the ground, in Illinois. And people are like, well, how you can't just say, and I'm like, yeah, you can. Every time we've made a project that I've been involved with, like a movie, we were like, well, let's just go make this. And people are like, well, how are you going to do that? And I'm like, I don't know. We're just going to go do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like when we were making, I had a script that became the Hills Run Red was brought to me, and it started out as a $350,000 movie. and the company wanted us to prove that we could produce something. So Dave Parker designed a teaser trailer, and we went out and shot the teaser trailer that I produced, and they liked it. And then people were like, friends of mine were like, why are you going to go make this movie for $350,000 independently? You know, and then suddenly cut to, well, it wasn't as easy as that, but then we were making it for Warner Brothers, you know, for millions of dollars. And Joel Silver was our executive producer, and we went to Bulgaria and made it. So it's like, you know, people are like, you can't just go make a movie, and I'm like, sure you can. Why can't you?
I thought one more thing quickly, if I may. I got to see the motion picture reel, the actual reel of it, thanks to Jeff at Paramount.
Oh, really?
Awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
You've probably seen the real, because you have the inside scoop, but it was awesome. That was another Nerdgasm moment, but my time is running out, so I wish you well, and I hope next year we can hook up. Man.
Yeah, come on out. I mean, I'm sure there's something cool, Victor. It's always good to hear from you.
Yeah.
And I think we just got a tip in, Roberto. So let me just check.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and work on that while I set up the next person here.
Okay, we did. Alexander Wilson says that don't forget that the Thunderbolts is the first MCU film conceptualized after Bob Iger returned. He called out the studio quality in 2023 on CNBC and said there would be changes. And right after that, they hired they hired the Bear showrunner to rewrite the script.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts? Well, I think it's fairly obvious, you know, that they did something. I didn't know that was exactly what they did, but you know, it made sense because I think the movie was true to itself.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that I missed in Thunderbolts was I really wish that they had addressed. We saw Yelena come back from the snap in Black Widow, and I would have liked that there to have been, like, I feel that they haven't. The only time you really addressed the horror of half of our world being snapped away was kind of in Endgame, when Scott Lang got to see the graveyard or the memorial where all the lists of names that everybody, I mean, they talk about traumatic.
Right. I
mean, we saw it actually in WandaVision as well.
Yeah.
You know, when Monica Rambeau came back, and they've never really dealt with the thing that I feel that is missing, and like the real world has become less and less important to the MCU. Whereas Tony Stark, when we first met him, was quote unquote a part of the real world.
Yeah.
You know, he was talking to reporters, he was being a playboy, and in Iron Man 2 as well. And so the real world has not changed really. Yeah. Like the real world that the MCU is set in would be so different now.
Sure.
I mean, and they haven't dealt with that. And I feel that's, I mean, I don't know how you make screen time to do it.
Well, they do it. I think they've tried to do it on the series, because Captain America and the Falcon.
Yep.
Sorry, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Sorry. The main nemesis in that story is all about kind of the repercussions, right? It's kind of like 100%. These movements emerging as a reaction to the blip and that kind of stuff. But you know, for whatever reason, aspects of that series, some were better than others. I mean, you also had the whole issue with Falcon dealing with like mortgage stuff, right? Like he couldn't get a loan and stuff, right? Because he had been disappeared for a few years. So there's all this interesting stuff that they explore in those, but they didn't necessarily. I keep thinking that the MCU movies need to have at the beginning of every movie a previously in the MCU, and do like a little 5-minute recap of everything, all the little details you need before this movie.
Or they have to have Michael Pena come back.
Or Michael,
he's the one
yeah.
that does. I mean, losing him in Quantumania was a huge.
Right.
I mean, I think Quantumania might have been the biggest misstep of the MCU in its entirety.
And Secret War. What was Secret Invasion? Secret Invasion started off strong, and it just went downhill after episode 1.
And I'd read those scripts. That was such a disappointment to me. Yeah. I mean, I thought that, and again, the massive implications for the universe that they just. Although they did bring it up, they did the other day on Daredevil. They made a reference to it, to the Skrulls.
Yeah,
but they haven't. I mean, where would humanity be after an invasion? Thanos, Arishem, the judge, saying he's going to judge humanity and come back or whatever. And I just feel that it doesn't.
We're all the post-apocalyptic cults that would have emerged out of all of these, out of all of these incidents, right?
And like, why didn't Atlantis claim the emerging celestial for their own? I mean, why wouldn't they be the first people to go set up an operation to mine? It just, I feel that they have not thought through. Like, I would love to see. It's interesting because one of the great Marvel comics series that people talk about was Marvels, which is where Alex Ross first came on board, where you got to see the MCU from the street perspective of a human character. Yeah. And it would have been interesting to see a movie like that.
Right.
Like where you actually explore the MCU from a street perspective where all the characters are human beings. Yeah. Like, what if you did like a Robert Altman, a Shortcuts movie, but you were in the MCU, or you were dealing with like Lawrence Kasdan's Grand Canyon, if people don't remember that movie, but where you're telling the story of these disparate human characters and explore where the Marvel universe is. Like, it would be interesting. Like, what if there was a priest at the Vatican? What does the Pope think of Thanos? What are the different, like, you could set it like one of the things within the Shortcuts movie could be a religious meeting, like, in Damascus, or make it interesting. Put it in Saudi Arabia. It's a pilgrimage of all the religious leaders on the world. You could bring all the religious leaders together to discuss where we at now with our beliefs, when there are beings that were not in the Bible. And we're part of a whole, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are like, that would not be exciting, but I would think it would be. You could do a Disney show or something like that, where you just discuss or delve into the world,
or almost do it like a mockumentary, kind of like with talking heads, similar to the Star Trek project that you worked on.
The Axanar
or something along those lines.
That would be a good way to do that and keep the budget down.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be really, and you could probably get really interesting star power, because all they'd have to do is come in and talk. It was like doing True Noir. We could get the actors we got because it wasn't a big commitment on their part.
Yeah.
So,
let's keep going here. We got just quick. Captain Robert April has been a member for 33 months. Thank you so much, Captain April. And we are jumping on to Brian Erdy. Welcome, Brian.
Howdy.
What's up, dude?
My favorite little minor story from post blip was when Peter Parker's science teacher, Mr. Harrington, his wife faked her death and ran off with another guy and pretended she was part of the blip.
Yeah.
So funny.
I mean, that stuff is good. There'd be more of that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be something really, you could delve into that further, where she gets interviewed. If you did, I would watch that.
I'd absolutely watch that. So I got two things to share. I got teased a little bit last time for not having anything cool to show from newly acquired collectibles, and I have made up for that. Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right. I love custom action figures, especially when they're really well done. And I didn't even know this series was available until after it was kind of out of print, but I kind of finagled my way into getting Wave 1. Have you seen these action figures? The Blade Runner?
No.
This is just Wave 1 of these custom Blade Runner action figures. And
I love the cards.
Yeah, they look great.
Wow, how are the figures?
Not bad. Deckard looks okay. Rachel looks better. Pris looks pretty good. My favorite is Roy, because he's holding, let's see if I can show you. He's holding a dove.
Yeah, it's hard to see because of the reflection, but wow.
Yeah.
Were those crowdfunded or just somebody made them?
No, it's a company called Cheesecake Customs.
Wow.
And, yeah, I just, on a whim, I was trying to find something to throw into my other office for my video. And I was just, does anybody do custom Blade Runner action figures? And bloop, I found these. And Wave 2 is about to drop here at the end of May. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I just got a shipping notice from Wandering Planet Toys that my second wave of the Prisoner action figures are coming. And their first wave was great, but they were officially licensed figures and they did a really great job, but they made even more for Wave 2. And I really like them. I don't really collect 3 3/4 inch figures, but I got the Prisoner figures and I bought those heavy duty lucite cases for them with the sliding and they're great. I mean, that's a great t-shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I picked this up when I was at when I saw the Jaws thing at the Academy Museum.
Oh wow, did they sell that in the Academy Museum?
They do.
Oh, I need to get a Desi Lou shirt, man.
So my second thing that I have, this literally just showed up today. I am so excited. The Marvel Legends line, I don't buy them anymore.
That better not be ROM. Dude. I'm trying to get that, man.
It's awesome. In fact, I bought 2. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. Even comes with an issue number 1. I hate this reflection. This is not working.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, but the figure is, I'm just seeing it for the first time in person, but the figure is lovely. And it comes with a little miniature ROM number 1 comic book.
Yeah. And
I just love the fact that this exists. I have a tiny one that was part of an exclusive previews thing.
Yeah.
7-8 years ago. But I love that this exists. And I loved ROM Space Knight mainly because I loved Sal. Is it Buscema or Buscema?
I had said Buscema, but Buscema. Yeah,
I love that.
If that's right.
Absolutely. I actually own a page of ROM original art by Sal Buscema. I love that art so much. And the fact that this failed toy was that the comic book outlasted it by 7 years. And it became an integral part. ROM was an integral part of the whole.
Oh, I've been getting all the ROM, the omnibuses again, because I loved the Bill Sienkiewicz covers for ROM.
Yes.
They were great. I love the Dire Wraiths. The Dire Wraiths were I mean, they would team up with the X-Men and I loved ROM. I'm surprised no one's reissued that full scale toy. Right. And what's interesting, it's kind of like Atari Force. Atari Force was it only ran 20 issues, the main comic, not the one that was inserted into the games. But Jose Luis Garcia Lopez drew Atari Force, Jerry Conway wrote it, and I love that comic. And they could never republish it again because they couldn't keep it going because they didn't have the rights to Atari. And they lost the rights to ROM. Like they published Space Knight comics, but they couldn't use ROM. They had like his home. They could use his home planet of like Galador and stuff, but they couldn't do other things with it. But when I saw that Legends figure, I'm like, oh, I have to get that. That's something I want to pick up. And did you get that? Is that Big Bad Toy Store that you got it from? Is that?
Yeah, Big Bad Toy Store. And I inadvertently, I didn't realize it at the time. I ordered 2. And when they told me, hey, both your ROMs are shipping, I thought, okay, well, I one to save and one to open.
Right.
Classic collector mentality.
Plus, if you buy those heavy lucite cases, they're like $40 each. They're expensive, but they come with, you can slide the card so the card is held in place.
Nice.
So it's yeah, my prisoner figures are up there, and I just got the they did I have an Ed Straker from UFO carded figure from, because they're doing Jerry Anderson 3 3/4 inch figures, and there was a box set. I picked those up, and then the Nacelle company is doing those rando Star Trek figures.
Those are sick.
They're so great. But Ike Eisenman, engineer's mate Peter Preston, because we're clamoring for that figure.
Valeris. The only Valeris is because you get the Genesis tube.
Oh, yeah, hilarious. It's those things are hilarious.
Yeah,
you got to get like all 8 of them, and then they're going to do Admiral Kirk from. It's all figures they never made, so it's wild. I mean, I don't know if they're going to sell them, but
I mean, they'll get my money for most of them. And I'm out of time, so I'll wrap up. Look for an email from me in the next couple of days. I finished up my second office video, and I'm going to throw it your way for proof.
Oh yeah, send it.
Cool. All right, thanks, my friend.
All right, good to see you, man. Rom.
Great to see you, Brian. Take care.
I gotta get me a ROM, dude.
It's on Big Bad Toy Store, and it looks like it's available. They must be doing a new batch because it's available for pre-order. So.
Oh yeah, they probably sold out.
They sold out, and they're gonna come back now. So okay, next up we've got Bob Littlepage, and on deck is Modesty Maltese. But let's go ahead and bring in Bob right now. Bob, you should be able to join us. Welcome.
Yeah, and congrats on finally fixing Hendrix's guitar back there.
Oh,
you finally fixed Jimmy's guitar. I see.
I did.
Yeah, somebody did.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been back there in a while.
Well, it's been a while. I forgot to mention that. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I was checking eBay. It's like the old 12, 13-inch ROM figures. It's like, my God.
Yeah, you can't. Well, and that's why somebody should just repop that figure.
I know. It's like the starting bid on a couple was like $129.
They use that. They use the they turned that ROM figure into a Battlestar Galactica figure too.
Yeah, just change the head and make it a Cylon. Yeah.
They did that, and they had a human figure as well.
Oh, I vaguely remember that.
With white hair and a kind of.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a Dama in battle armor.
It was weird.
Yeah.
But they did all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a video. In fact, I'm at some point going to be talking about it on my own channel when I finally do a Star Trek video instead of ranting about other things. About the Universal Star Trek thing. Hopefully they make it a little more permanent, because it is a little bit like you don't. It kind of smacks of haunted house at the mall type thing where there's.
Yeah, I mean, but then they had to put, because they had OSHA or regulations, they had to put railings and things like that on, which was sort of.
But it's like like you somehow treat the sick way. The sets are nice, and
they are.
And I'd be stupid to me. I know I'd show up in uniform.
A lot of people did,
and things start going to hell. Then I start trying to. Computer authorization going April 6th.
Yeah.
Override now.
But it was neat. I mean, people liked it. So, they had a good.
The bridge is nice, and engineering is okay.
Yeah. No, it was cool. I mean, I
was waiting for him to board the shuttle like the old experience ride, but no, they just walked out. Oh, welcome to. We just walked out from the street. Now we're on the.
Yeah. But man, the experience was so cool.
Oh God, yeah.
It was so well done. But they didn't have an engineering section.
Yeah, they just had the bridge, the Grand Quarter, and
yeah.
Now, my nerdgasm was when I went to when the sets were for Star Trek Continues were in Kingsland, Georgia.
Yeah,
and got on the original bridge. It's like that's
what James has done, Ticonderoga, what they've done there is amazing.
Oh yeah, but little.
And they've got the
horn with it, because I got on I don't know what the channel is, but they were talking to Ray Tessie about, and cited a Facebook post I did. Ticonderoga, that's if you want a nice, perfect, realized, fully enclosed sound effects and everything type thing. You want what really was like a Desilu, though, hit the Start to Continue sets.
Yeah, but
And that's where it's like you got a missing wall over here. You can see the wood grain. It's not a plasma screen. They just now got a view screen on the bridge.
Yeah,
Everything
no,
before
it's,
that, and it was CGI because well, we can't afford it. We can do this. We don't need to see the screen.
yeah,
But it's, you don't push too hard on the controls and the transport will go right through. But it's very replicating what the actual set was like.
right.
And
But nobody. But see that you bring up the question, like,
and they're working sets. That's the thing. You want to do. It's trying to get you to reclaim the Axonar script. We go to now to Sandusky Mall.
People have always said to me,
better situation, than in Georgia.
People have always asked me why I was not interested in collecting movie props. Why I didn't. I've never been interested. I like seeing movie props.
Yeah,
but to me, it's like they're not. I would much rather have, like, say, the Wand Company making a tricorder than having an actual screen use tricorder, because it's the real.
Yeah, I know. Penny Jude was doing the rounds of the convention. She brought a thing, and I handled one of the Cardassian phases. Well, yeah, it's nice, but it's obviously wood. Yeah,
it's just a wood. It's so it never, like, I have my master replicas tricorder and phaser and communicator, and they have weight to them and they're metal. So you can believe there's a believability to them.
It's like
the only prop that I
here compared to a Greg Jean hero prop, it's like, like, oh my god, that piece of it's got I had to breathe on the damn thing.
I mean, it's cool that it was actually there, but I'm like, that's why I've never. I do love models, though. Like, I would love to have owned the original model of the refit Enterprise motion picture that's sitting in the lobby of Blue Origin.
Yeah, the Bezos put something over that. Okay, come on.
Yeah, it's just there for anybody to touch.
Yeah, I got. Was a Red Shirts Only Die article about it, and then also I found a video to go with it. Okay, I'm going to do something. I'm saving for when my erstwhile co-host Rosetta is available. She's got some family stuff going on. So, and also the thing about Chekhov being kind of character assassinated through the years. Badly mishandled.
Yeah.
And also a few citations. Because the big also, let's not discount the influence of Ilya Kuryakin on the sister show Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah. No, that's definitely true.
But I think there was a little bit the design of the phaser. There was supposed to be a rifle mount for it to go into, and I did concoct a little hypothetical thing that I bounced it off Bijo Trimble and Michael Kuta. Yeah, that's probably something that Matt James was thinking. Where I stick a barrel on the end of it. And I had a couple of extra power packs on the back for the rifle, with the butt on the rifle stock, and then you stick another one on the bottom. Because if you notice on the bottom of the, let me pull this thing back out again. On the bottom here is another little socket here, which I think would match up very nicely with the twist lock that was up here. So to snip another one on there, you got the extended thing. Get up there. Hey, your special Uncle Phaser.
Although I do like the idea of the Phaser 1 being the thing that's modular between the different weapons.
Well, the whole thing. Jeffries was into modularity with the phasers, with the ship.
Yeah.
Because they would say, the lines don't. The entire thing was modular. That's a whole new build from the neck down on the ship. The only thing original is a saucer, and they built that up. The bridge was modular. I
just saw somebody do. They took a ship design from the animated episode Time Trap. It was like a freighter that had these rectangular and oval storage containers that you could stack all the way down, that kind of look like like gun magazines, but with warp engines on it. You can see it in the episode, but they did real design. I was like, that's really cool. And it's canonical. So,
I'm glad I got the laser disc of that. The original one, because some reason they said, we'll make no, don't make this guy black in there. It's supposed to be red and swirly. Leave it alone.
But I don't know, man. Those Blu-rays are gorgeous. They are gorgeous.
I never seen the reason to get them. There's no extra features on it. And it's Filmation that.
But they're HD.
It's a Filmation cartoon in HD. Okay, the DVD is fine. Okay, that one thing. I'm fine with the DVD. Everything else I'm going Blu-ray, but
it looks good. There. It looks good. Yeah. So, but
well, good to see you, man. Good to see you, Bob.
Always a pleasure talking some classic Trek.
And up next is our film scholar, Modesty Maltese. Modesty, welcome.
Welcome
You're
back.
able to join the chat if you are there. Yeah, there you are. Welcome, Modesty.
Hi guys.
Hey,
how's it?
Hello, hello.
To see you.
Great to see you.
Nice to see you guys. I was completely absent-minded and I missed a week. I joined you, but during a wrong Saturday last time.
Oh,
One Saturday later, I was like, "Where's everybody?" And then I checked the date, and I was like, "Ooh."
well, you look fresh faced. You look good. You've been having fun.
Well, yeah, I was in my country house and the weather is nice, so I'm up and about, and finally the virus let me go after 6 weeks of torture. And we don't even know which virus we have because since COVID, nobody's checking at all. So everybody was ill.
I was
what it was.
I was sick for like a month. I was
Yeah.
coughing and could barely speak. I'm like, I don't even know what I have. When I was in Vegas, I could barely talk.
Yeah. I'm just kind of starting to exercise again. It's difficult. It really hit me hard. It hit me harder than COVID did, and
Yeah.
I had COVID 6 times.
Yeah, me too. I did not 6 times. I had it 4 times, but it didn't.
Yeah, but
whatever
still.
I had didn't hit me nearly as hard as COVID did.
No, this was horrendous. Anyway, enough of that cheerful, youthful talk. Who was ill with what?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was watching you talking to Campia about Andor. What are your thoughts? I was reluctant to start watching. I don't know why, because maybe to avoid all the disappointment.
Season 2 or season 1?
No, season 2, obviously. And I still don't know what I'm thinking about it. I'm kind of.
I think it depends where it's going to go. Like I really enjoyed the second set of episodes 4, 5, and 6. But I'm like I almost feel that it's. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it, but it feels a little smaller than season 1. Season 1 was going to more places, and I think what they're doing with Gorman is interesting. I think it's going to be really bad what happens in the next 3 episodes. I think that
I kind of but on the other hand, I'm thinking, out of the whole Star Wars galaxy, you have to go to resistance movement in France.
Right.
Because that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
And it's like lazy to me. It's like give me something new, give me fantasy, give me a world I haven't seen before. Don't give me Europe from 1940s.
I mean I think that's a good point, and I think that's clearly that's what they're doing. I mean, Gorman, the art, with the arts, and it's this beautiful, and here's a monument and all that, and
silk and fashion, and the references are so obvious.
Yes.
So and also they probably got French actors because they all have French accent and they speak this invented language with a French accent, so they might as well speak French. It doesn't really. If you don't speak French, it makes no difference to you, actually.
I think they were, I don't know what the thought process is. I would imagine that they wanted to keep it as grounded as possible. And the more, I think Tony Gilroy, the more fantasy they bring into it, the more it spins off into its own. Because then I
agree, but you can design a resistance movement that it doesn't have a feel of 1940s France. That's
right.
Because it takes me out of Star Wars universe.
Yeah,
I'm now in France, and it's just, I don't know. And also, I didn't like the ending of the last episode where they found this guy who tortured the girlfriend. How did they find the guy? Miraculously?
Well,
And
I
it's
think
like,
I think that was kind of it, that they knew where he was and they were just waiting to move on him.
yeah, but where did they where did script lead to that? At what point?
Right.
That's an interesting subplot that might have been really nice to kind of get there and actually have some kind of catharsis that actually they got their revenge. She has got her revenge.
Yes.
And this is like, okay, we just pop in, torture the guy briefly, and then blow everything up. And it looks like some kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger shot. There is a big explosion in the background, and they're just walking.
There's the same explosion in Thunderbolts too.
Well, I haven't watched the time.
Yeah, there's the same. I mean, I think that's kind of becoming a cliche. Let's blow up the floor of a building.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like. It looks, and also you all have been praising the actress who's playing Mon Mothma. I actually
Oh, come on.
I think she is playing it too seriously, she's too stiff. Also, that woman who was unbugging that art piece, I mean, why is she so angry? Who's directing this? What are the emotions people should portray? She's constantly angry. She's supposed to be flirting with the guy, then flirt with the guy, for God's sake. I mean, this stereotype, like tough girl has to look like this all the time. It's
well, I
like,
think, you know what I think it is? I think it comes from, again, a lack of influences. Everything. Look, I think that the people that are making our entertainment now do not have enough of a broad base of knowledge to allow them to not rely on stereotypes as much as we're seeing. Like, you've got to give people a lot more. If you go back and you watch, say, a movie from the 60s, like The Dirty Dozen, those guys had a lot of color to them. They had all kinds of personality. And it's almost like everyone's afraid now. They don't know how to do subtle anymore. They don't know how to bring the humanity to it because they haven't seen enough. It's all, this has to be just this way. And I agree with you. Like, if somebody is an agent and you look at Sean Connery as James Bond, he would tailor his persona to whoever he was dealing with. And he was really good at that. And I think that they're kind of afraid to do that nowadays because audiences and even the people, like, I'm old. And I think about most of the people that are making entertainment are significantly younger, maybe not Tony Gilroy, but the people that are directing, you're having younger people that just don't have the literary background. They don't have the artistic background. They don't have the educational background, and they haven't traveled. So they're relying on stereotypes in terms of characters because I think people are afraid to add that nuance to and give it that quality. And I think that that's happening across the board, that nowadays it's like, oh, you're suffering from trauma. Well, what does that look like? We can only make it look a certain way. There's people who deal with trauma in all different, there's a spectrum of how you deal with trauma. But how do you do that? You have to show, we've been so infantilized in terms of our own human behavior that it's hard to, unless you're showing it a cliched version, do people understand what you're trying to convey?
Thank you so much, Modesty. Great to see you.
But I do like Mon Mothma. You
do like Mon Mothma. Mon Mothma fans. We've got Oscar Herrera coming up next, followed by Cult Cinema 83. So we'll start with Oscar here, but Cult Cinema, you are on deck. Welcome, Oscar.
Hey, how's it going, gentlemen?
What's going on, man?
How's it going?
Hanging in there. I kind of feel like I need to, now that I have a big project under my belt, I need a new project. I don't know what to do with myself.
No, I've been there. I've done my big projects and everything already. You know, I ran for political office, lost. I'm like, what's my next big project? Joined the military. What's my next big project? And now I have a at least 18-year commitment with my
Right.
son. So,
Oh no, you have a lifelong commitment.
oh, yeah, definitely. Wait, speaking of which, hold on. He's right here. The moment I
Oh.
move,
How old is he?
8 months.
Wow, congratulations. Look at that
He's-
guy.
Yeah. I put him down. He has like, I want to say separation anxiety of sorts.
Oh,
But the littlest imagination comes here.
the littlest amount. Get him started early. Only
Oh.
show him classic Star Trek from the time he's like 3 or 4. Star Trek, Twilight Zone, Outer Limits.
So when he was about 4 months old, he couldn't sleep at night. So I'm like, let's watch movies. And I put Lord of the Rings on, and he was just quiet, focused on the TV, and he would cry when it ended. He's like, no, I want more.
I wonder if a lot of that was musically based, because the score is so evocative.
Yeah, definitely. He loves his music. He loves his movies. He loves baseball too, which is nice.
That's good.
Yeah, so getting him into that, getting into his, I think the first, he'll be under a year, but when Superman comes out, I just want to take him.
Oh yeah, got it. Yeah,
Just, but I grew up in that fandom, and I didn't have my dad really didn't care about it. It was like, I'll support you. I don't understand it, but it's your thing. Kind of
right.
thing. But with him, I was like, start them early. We took him shopping. I'm like, son, this is the biggest decision of your short life, Marvel or DC. And I held up a Spider-Man onesie and a Batman onesie, and he chose Spider-Man.
It's like Shogun Assassin. You have Daigoro gets a ball or a sword. He has to crawl across the floor and pick it up. He goes for the sword.
Well, the missus is a big nerd like myself, and when he's older, we're gonna do the whole. I'm not sure if you've seen it, the Pokemon starter thing, where you have Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle, and see which one he gravitates to.
Yeah, that's what that totally.
Yeah, start them young, but
100%, 100%. And why not? I mean, I don't. It's funny. I don't have any really memories before I was 5. I remember vague things, but it wasn't until 5 was when I started really watching all this stuff that I was aware of it. Comic books and watching TV and all of that. But I don't know if I started earlier. I would imagine I probably did start earlier. Saturday morning cartoons, and I have vague memories of watching Johnny Quest. That was I love Johnny Quest because it had the giant eyes, this robot spy, the giant spider. I remember that as a kid.
I think for me, my dad got me to the old school He-Man.
Right.
And he had all the old action figures, the model Grayskull. I think he may still have it because he was very proud of the collection. And I'm at the point now, with him, it's I understand my dad when he said, "Don't touch those things," because
right.
But yeah.
Yeah, you wait to see. I'll tell you what looked when we were at CinemaCon. They showed us a behind the scenes reel of the new Masters of the Universe film. And I could take. I was a little old for He-Man, although I did buy the first figures. But the movie looks incredible. All the stuff, all the design work. Guy Dias designed it all. He designed X2 and Superman Returns, but he designed Inception. He did all the sets for Inception, the production. It looks incredible. So I think Masters of the Universe is going to come out and create a whole new generation of fans. And you've got a couple of years. It's going to be MGM Amazon, but it looks amazing. It really does.
Yeah, the little behind the scenes, not official leaks or whatever they were, look pretty interesting. I'm curious about them bringing them to Earth, but regardless.
Yeah, I don't know. It looked from the behind the scenes that, I mean, it's when they were shooting, so maybe, but it looked mostly on Eternia. So, and the sets were incredible, because who cares about Earth? I mean, that's the whole thing. We already saw that, and I understand why they're bringing everybody to Earth, but nobody cares about Earth. It's like, let's go to Eternia.
Yeah,
let's go there.
We need a little escapism from this planet.
It's funny. I asked. There was one thing somebody said when we were watching somebody turned and said, "There's no Battle Cat. That's bullshit." So I wrote a little letter to somebody, and I'm like, "Can you confirm or deny?" And there is, in fact, Battle Cat. Battle Cat is in the He-Man movie.
Oh, you have to have Battle Cat.
You have to have Battle Cat, and apparently, and there's other things that I heard about too that I can't say, that were like they were devices, ships, and things that are in the movie. But I mean, it looks incredible, and the design work of all of the characters is amazing. I mean, the design work, all the costume design stuff. Like, my favorite was Sorceress, which was just incredible. It looked incredible on all the costumes. They showed a shot of Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms, and it was awesome. I'm like, oh, I want to buy these figures.
I can't wait.
It's going to be great. I can't wait.
But I just want to say thank you, because just before my time's up, because I got back into writing, and I got the chance to contribute to a special edition for a artist I love. And
oh, wow.
They got published in a magazine. So
wow, congratulations, man. That's amazing.
It was just a quote, but I got into writing again, got a lot of positive feedback, so I'm gonna keep writing.
Keep writing.
I may have something for you about the MCU, and it's a little bit of mathematically they're doing the same things, but spiritually they're not.
Oh, I'd love to read that. Send it in. I'll read it on the show.
Sweet. Yeah, I got a draft, but I'll send it to you when I can.
Yeah, send it to me. I love that idea. That's really, send that in.
Yep, definitely.
Well, it's good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Scott.
And congratulations on that new edition there. The imagination connoisseur of the next generation.
The next generation, right there. That's right.
Look at those eyes.
That's awesome. Thank you for joining us, Scott. All right. Cold Cinema 83 is up next. And James Howie is on deck. So Cold Cinema 83, you should be able to join us now. Welcome.
Good evening.
Hello,
What's
hello.
going on, dude? All the way, the Dutchman.
Yeah, I'm good. So are you ready for my Andor rant?
Yes, please. Oh, rant away.
And by the way, Genevieve O'Reilly is the best part of the show. So Mon Mothma is not the problem. But no, I mean, I'm going to mention some personal stuff, but I needed to plead my case. So, the big thing about Star Wars is that I've always loved this, because it's classic battle of good versus evil. And I think we all know that the Empire was modeled after Nazi Germany, basically.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. My grandmother, who was my hero, she's no longer with us, but bless her. She actually lived through and survived World War II. And the stories that she used to tell me, I mean, I can't even. You hear it, but you can't imagine it.
Especially today, people want to believe it doesn't even exist.
Right. Yes. But later on in college, we did a study on the Nuremberg trials, and there was actually someone attending the class who had been present at the Nuremberg trials. So
wow.
We hear a lot of stories, and when you have people who facilitated genocide by building extermination camps, sitting in a courtroom, smiling while they are filling out crossword puzzles, while witnesses and the survivors of the people who have died in the war are bawling their eyes out. That's just so. The thing about Andor that I find really disgusting is that they're telling the audience that we should care about characters like Dedra and Cyril. So basically, they're asking me as an audience member to have sympathy for Nazis. Like, what message is that? What does that say to the audience?
But
I mean,
are we supposed to have sympathy for those characters?
well, Cyril has mommy issues. I mean, what?
Right, but I mean, but here's the thing: people on both sides of that. The thing about what the Nazi regime was, they thought they were right. You know, they took a beaten and demoralized Germany after World War I, you know, and a country that was being, they had to pay reparations to everybody, but they're still people, you know. And then you had the rise of a populist who took, I mean, what they did in a short period of time in Nazi Germany was unprecedented in human history. So you had a combination of nationalism, industrialization, and then they, you know, they're like, we're the best people in the world. We're the Ubermensch, you know, and they were still real people, and everybody had their mothers and everybody had their, so I think that's the part that they're trying to delve into, is that you still have real people that are monsters. Even though you've got mommy issues and all that, there's still that evil, the banality of evil is, but I understand what you're saying too. But we're now living in a world, our world today, we have people that do believe that there's other groups of people that can now be, once again, let's get rid of them. I mean, you have college campuses in America saying that we should get rid of these people. A lot of them won't come right out and say it, but that's what they're advocating, and they think they're right.
No, I'm not denying that. But Star Wars is a fantasy fairy tale, and
right,
you know, and they did this in Rise of Skywalker as well, when they say, like, choose a side. Choose a side implies that you can be a Sith on purpose, and just because we've had Nazis in real life, still have, doesn't mean we should let them be acceptable. And that's
right.
the thing. And that's the thing. It's like, so I'm watching Andor, and I'm like, so what are you trying to say here, Andor? That somehow in a weird sort of multiverse that the Holocaust had mitigating circumstances? I just can't wrap my head around that. And by the way, one more thing. And by the way, people talk about messaging. I mean, Andor being a show that has basically almost no alien species in it at all. I mean, talk about agenda pushing. Just saying.
Well, but we did see in the last three that when Mon Mothma was lobbying all the alien senators to try, and then we saw the alien senator speaking about the Empire, you know, and then she walked out. I think what they're trying to do is, because even in Star Wars, while we had droids and we had Chewbacca, you know, it was still basically a human, our characters that we were following. I think what they're trying to do is make people identify. It's just harder to identify with the aliens, but we're seeing more and more of them. But I think you're not, it's interesting because I'll tell you something. One of the things when I was growing up, going to the Seattle Film Festival, every Dutch movie that got made would come to Seattle because all they would launch. That's why Paul Verhoeven, Fons Rodemaker, Monique Van de Ven, Renee Stoussendijk, and forgive my pronunciations, they would all come to Seattle. And it didn't matter what it was, whether it was a comedy, you know, or like Dick Moss making Amsterdam or Der Lift. No matter what the movie was about, it was always about how Holland was fucked by the Nazis. They would work it into and I love that. I'm like, I love the Dutch because they will never, ever let go of their hatred for the Nazis. And I'm like, I love this country. And it was before, I've only been to Holland once, but when I went there, I was like, I felt like I belong here, because not only do they make great movies, but they hate Nazis. but you remind me of that. And I don't think that you're wrong. And what's really scary is in America, especially in college campuses, you're seeing the rise of Nazi sympathizers, because it's hard. Americans, with our lack of understanding, it's hard for people to actually believe. People don't even know what genocide is anymore. They're throwing out this word and people forget now it wasn't just 6 million Jews that died in concentration camps. It was 6 million other people as well, that were everybody from trade unionists to the Romani people to homosexuals to, and people don't know that because we in America, our educational system is so compromised both by Qatari influence at our, I mean, if you read about how much the Qatari influence, how much money they've just injected into higher learning. I mean, this is a long-term plan. The global caliphate is real. You know, that's what, and they're certainly worming their way into the thought process of Americans, but we have no understanding of it all. And the Germans were proud. What they were doing, they documented it all. You can find, and that's the scary part is, like you said, there were people they thought, well, you know, we were doing the right thing. And it's scary. But you're right. I mean, I don't think you're wrong in what I was trying to say. What you were saying is, I don't think that you're incorrect. But I do think that Tony Gilroy, I think their intentions are good in the sense that I don't think they want you to believe. I think Cyril and Dedra are going to get what's coming to them because they're making those people fucking evil. I mean, they're bad, and I think it's going to get bad. So.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Cult Cinema. We've got Shonen Kaiju, James Howie up next. Welcome. You should be able to join us now.
Hey, Rob, how's it going?
What's going on, dude? How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Not bad. I felt similar to you about Thunderbolts. Maybe part of me thought maybe, am I overpraising it? But I don't know. It was just real refreshing to see a MCU movie that felt so small. Like, I was surprised at how small it felt. Like,
I was too, and it made me enjoy it. You know, It was nothing was overblown, and it felt very personal, and it stayed personal. And I mean, I understand I've watched everybody's responses to it, and a lot of people just didn't like it. But it's gotten to the point where people's objection to things are almost now becoming cliche, and it's almost like when they see something that deserves, the fact that you have a relatively indie director bringing an independent sensibility to a superhero movie, I think it's something that should be praised, Yeah. And I thought I was surprised by the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I felt very fulfilled by it.
I did as well. I wanted to show off some physical media I've been getting lately.
Please do.
Ones, the
Akira,
nice Steelbook, Mononoke.
Nice. Those are cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched Let's Get Physical Media last week, but since you've got anime, I got this from Crunchyroll, the store, Macross Zero, and it's
That's
great.
Cool.
It's the whole series. I love these spot UV printed boxes, but I'm old school anime.
Yeah, I got The Last Unicorn also.
Oh, nice.
Did you know that Ghibli, there's Ghibli animators that worked on that before they went to Ghibli, I guess?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Although I've read
cool.
the Peter Beagle original story that he wrote that's based on.
Yeah. And I was wondering, do you still have the I used to see it all the time when you would stream the Akira manga box set?
Oh yeah. It's right there. It's just off. It used to be right behind me, but it's moved.
Yeah. I got mine like a couple years ago for Christmas.
How great is that?
Oh, I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is
great.
Like weeb. It's weeb holy text, honestly. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's great. Plus, it's like I would love them to go back and do a new animated adaptation and do the entire series.
I thought the same thing while I was reading it. I know the producer of the live action spoke recently that there might be some news. I'm pretty skeptical on how.
I don't know. The problem is the movie itself is so Eastern in its sensibilities.
Yeah.
I mean, and I remember when they were talking about Keanu Reeves starring as Kaneda. I'm like, Kaneda, they're in high school. I mean, it's like you can't.
them being that young is critical to the story and the setting of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know,
I also think the problem is nowadays American audiences, especially young audiences, they're watching anime. You know, they're like, I just watched the first Slam Dunk. I don't know if you've heard of that or seen it.
I actually hadn't seen that yet, but I've heard it's great.
It's great. It's an anime. It's a Japanese anime about high school basketball.
Yeah.
And I was like, I saw Chris Stuckman talking about it. I'm like, I'll buy that. And I watched it and I was like, this is really good. You know, and stuff between things like Bell and Your Name and Weathering with You, and I just got Summer Wars in 4K, which is something I always really liked. There's a lot of, if you were to do Akira, they're always trying to take the Asian sensibility and transpose it into the West, and something is lost. And I think that even the way, like when you watched you know, Scarlett Johansson as Ghost in the Shell, it was like, you look at that and you're like, it just doesn't work, because they're trying to make it from a Western sensibility, so something is lost in translation. And with Akira, if you adapted the film, the first thing they're going to do is change it to the point of, like, you change Kaneda's jacket. You can't say that he supports drug use. That's not good.
I was like,
you know.
It's an iconic jacket. Like, you can't not have, like, that's.
But that'd be the first thing they would do. Like, we can't advocate drug use amongst teenagers.
I mean,
because no one's taking Adderall in high school.
Yeah, he's a rogue teen in a dystopian future. Like, of course he does. And, like, you know, as it's shown in the movie and the manga, like, none of them care about school. They just go there and they just F around. And and
they try and kill other kids. I mean, they're not like being nice to each other. They're riding motorcycles and smashing each other in the face with pipes. I mean, as they're but that's cool. Those steel books are good. Are you watching any anime or anything new that you really like?
I'm a little bit in. It's on Max, or it's on Adult Swim, and then it goes to Max the day after. It was it's the Cowboy Bebop's new.
Yeah, people keep telling me about it. I saw a trailer for it yesterday. It's called
Lazarus.
Lazarus, right? It looks great. It looks great,
and it's the director of John Wick did, like, the action coordination. You can tell, because it's really good. I'm enjoying it.
Is there a subtitled version?
I only see the dub on Max. I think there might be sub, but I don't know. It might be, like, because it's Adult Swim. I mean, I watch pretty much everything in sub, so watching this in dub is fine. I mean, you know, but Moonrise on Netflix is pretty good too. It's like 18 episodes long.
I haven't seen that.
3 episodes in. I did want to say, you know, like, a lot of people, you know, listen to you just help, like, made me think about, you know, how I want to express myself creatively. And, you know, I started doing Letterboxd a few months ago, and it helped a lot with just putting your thoughts out there.
Oh, that's great. Do you get good feedback?
Not bad. I mean, it's pretty early. But sometimes I have comments, and I get, you know, a decent amount of likes. But
that's good.
I also wanted to start reading more, and I read manga a lot, but I kind of wanted to read The Foundation because I had heard about it, and
I highly recommend it.
Yeah,
you know, there's so much great stuff out there.
Yeah,
and you know, I've found that, like, with classic movies, when I was in film school and there was a lot of movies I hadn't seen, and when I was at USC, they showed us a lot of movies on the big screen, which was great. But I was always surprised that, you know, classic movies are classic movies for a reason. So when you'd see this stuff, I think I would always think, wow, that was, I mean, I know it's a classic film, and I'm sorry I haven't seen it, but that was really, really good. And I think that's true of most classic science fiction novels. Like, when you go back and you read Asimov's Foundation, I was reading an article that said the TV show's good, but, you know, the book it's a different beast entirely. But when you go back and you go into that stuff, it's great. You know, it's really, really entertaining. And I can't recommend reading classic science fiction or classic horror, classic genre fiction. I mean, even classic, the mangas that I was buying in the 80s. Like, I was really into this comic called Area 88. And I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it was a fighter plane manga where these pilots were like kidnapped and they were taken to this African nation to fly these jets in a rebellion against this other country, which I thought, but the planes were all real. They were very accurate. And it was Viz put it out and I loved it. And then there's movies. You can get the Area 88 film. And I'm like, I don't know anybody. I don't know if I could it was a Top Gun manga is what it was, but they were kidnapping these pilots. And I loved it. It's like, does anybody read that anymore? I don't know. You know, but
yeah,
I love me some Area 88.
All right. Well, thanks to Shonen Kaiju for joining us there. Rob, speaking of anime, and this is there's a YouTube channel I just came upon the other day called Jar Jar Jargon, and they've done an anime adaptation of the first like half, maybe the first
Heir to
third
the Empire?
of Heir to the Empire.
I totally watched that.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I mean, granted, it's done with AI, so it's got some quirkiness to it. But
yeah,
man, and it makes me think if Disney wanted to really recapture the young audience, making anime adaptations of the original films in that style, similar to how they've done some manga books of some of those stories, would be a pretty cool story to do.
Well, hell, they could go back and do the entire extended universe,
everything
books.
On anime.
Yeah, and do. I would watch it, but they would have to animate. The one thing it was clear that they were using AI.
Sure,
they'd need to make better anime out of it.
Yeah. But Jar Jar Jargon is. I mean, it's a guy trying to do. But he's doing it basically as a proof of concept to be like, Disney, this is what you need to be doing. He even says it on his commentary. He's like, this is not for me to do. This is for you to do. I'm just showing you
like that
what you can do.
That one manga or the one anime version of the TIE Fighter, the battle, that thing was awesome.
And there's a book that came out early on in the newest trilogy that is called Falling Stars or something like that, which is basically it's an interesting story about a romance between a young rebel kid and an Empire, a female.
That's considered one of the great Star Wars novels.
So that was adapted into a manga. And just looking at the manga, you're like, this would make an awesome anime film. I mean,
it's the Star Wars equivalent of Baron and Luthien.
It's amazing. It's really, really well done. So I would highly recommend. I think it's called Falling Stars or Fallen Stars. I can't remember.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is called.
Yeah. And the manga, it just gives you that. And it's one of those stories, Rob, similar to Marvel's. You get to see aspects of the Star Wars story from the point of view of other characters. So at certain points, at one point they're fighting in the Battle of Hoth, but it's from their perspective. It's not, so it would be a really interesting way to kind of revisit the Star Wars universe.
Well, my friend Kevin Rubio wrote an ongoing series about these characters, Tag and Bink.
Right.
We're going to be in Solo.
Mm-hmm.
I've often thought they should totally do a manga series of Tag and Bink. I mean, because he wrote it as Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. I mean, it'd be great to do that. I think that's a great idea. But you know what? The problem is you would need people that have vision at the and they just don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, even people like, look, Dave Filoni's not going to give up his own. I really think the biggest problem is that they've leaned too heavily into what Filoni's doing.
Yeah.
That it's the animation, it's Rebels, it's Clone Wars, all that stuff has become too dominant.
Yeah.
And which is, I guess that's okay. Whereas I would love to see like more things like Andor, where you have other visionary producers come in. And I think adapting the Heir to the Empire stories even though they've kind of already ruined Thrawn.
Well, and they claim that they've deprecated all of that stuff. So then you come back. That's the part that is so frustrating to me. It's like you claim that all this stuff is now no longer canon, but then that's what you're picking at for parts, basically. You know, you're scavenging off of there, and in the process, kind of ruining the spirit of those characters and those stories.
Well, I mean, and the funny thing that I don't understand is Disney bought all that stuff, and look, when you watch the Marvel movies, they now talk about who created these characters, and like the Winter Soldier was actually a run of comics that Ed Brubaker wrote.
Yep.
And so when he had that long run on his run on Captain America was great. I love that run. And it went through the Siege and Secret Invasion and all that stuff. But I have no understanding. I do not understand with these franchises, whether it's Predator, whether it's Alien, whether it's Star Wars. There was all these great creators that spent a long time trying to figure out how can I tell a story canonically within these universes. It's like the first Dark Horse Alien versus Predator comics.
Right.
Those were great. Just go adapt.
It was right there. You have it right there.
It's right there. And then the problem is, and it was funny because Diane Duane explained this to me, one of my favorite Star Trek novelists. She's like, there's nothing lower on the totem pole than tie-in fiction.
Right.
You know, and what they don't realize is so many great writers got their start writing tie-in fiction because they love the universe. And the best of the Star Trek stuff to me, or the best of the Star Wars fiction, all these characters, like even the name Asajj Ventress.
Yeah.
What a cool name for a character. Why not bring her into live action? You know, it's such a strange thing to me because none of what they've written has worked nearly as well since Disney took over, nearly as well as what they already created in the Legends universe.
Yeah.
Look, Heir to the Empire, the Timothy Zahn trilogy has a lot of goofy shit in it.
Sure.
You know, there's a lot of goofy shit in that stuff, but there's enough in it that you could take. The Dark Empire comic series would have been dope, you know, to go make that, and the Emperor and clones and the World Devastators and all that. Yeah, it's weird.
All right, so we've got 1001 Johnny up next. Welcome, 1001 Johnny, and then Matt. Matt just said he got back, so you'll come in right after 1001 Johnny. So let's go ahead and get Johnny in here. Welcome, Johnny.
Yo,
what's up,
Rob,
dude?
Guess what I watched last week? It had Sean Connery in it.
Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
Sadly, no.
Oh,
let's see.
Zardoz.
Yes.
What did you think of Zardoz? Had you seen it before?
No, I hadn't. And I've always heard, like, everybody always shows the poster of him in his red underwear, just like kind of standing awkwardly holding the gun. And I read a premise where Sean Connery plays a mutant hunting down people. So I thought he was the antagonist.
Those are all people that never saw the movie.
Right. So then I watched the movie finally. I can't remember what it was that I think it was. I saw this video a while ago, came out a few months ago, almost a year ago. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's this British sci-fi enthusiast. He names the channel Science Fiction with his name.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I didn't know a lot of the philosophy and other stuff he was talking about when he's doing the video. So was actually lost for a long time and didn't realize he was actually talking about Zardoz until Zardoz appears saying, "The gun is good.
Yeah.
The penis is evil." And then it goes on. And I was like, what was that? And I was like, because I knew the imagery. I knew that was from the movie. It's like, is he talking about that movie? And it goes on. And I was like, yeah, this sounds kind of interesting, but I'm still lost on the philosophy that he's talking about. And then I watched this Australian YouTube video, like the week I decided to watch the movie finally, last week. And it's called Stam Fine. And this guy is hilarious. He was like, he's like reviews stuff and he puts in a lot of jokes, but he does, like, he'll tell you the actual history, but then he'll add in a quip. And sometimes you're not sure which is the quip and which is the actual history, but it's so funny. And his video for Zardoz, every time Sean Connery is running around, you hear click, click. I guess his balls are bouncing in the nappies.
Yeah.
And I watched the video. I watched the movie and I really, really liked it. Like
I really like Zardoz too.
And like when I was wondering, like because there's so much niche in the story. And like the more abstract stuff, people say like it's hard to figure out, and the director jokes, "Oh, I don't know what I was doing here. I was high at the time," or something like that. It seems very clear what's going on, though. It's just like even like, you know, he has shucks, I forgot. There's the two ladies. There's the ones who's fascinated with him, and then there's the one that hates him, and then they both fall in love with him.
Yeah.
So the one that's fascinated with him, she and several of her followers, they say you'll intimidate us, and then we'll go off. And that's them when at the end of the movie when they're on their horses and they're leaving. They're all supposed to be pregnant, and they're supposed to give birth to sons elsewhere in the world. So, but when they're showing him getting all the information, you see her and she's topless and she's on top of him, but she's wearing white panties, and then she's just like doing this, and it's like, what is this? And somebody might think this is just a what the fuck sort of thing, but I think that's actually supposed to be like a stage performance. Like these are all classically trained actors. If Zardoz was a stage play, that's exactly what they would be doing. That's where all the psychedelic, just focusing on this actor, suddenly the light goes on, like stage light, you know, that sort of thing. Even the point where when Zardoz is like, the gun is good, the penis is evil, that is supposed to be kind of funny, I think. Not camp necessarily, but like the man who says he's Zardoz, Arthur, what's his name?
Arthur Frayne.
He's brainwashing these guys.
Oh, he's like, just playing around with these barbarian human beings.
When you finally meet him, he's like just this. I know something you don't know.
Yeah.
So
oh no.
Like, it's like I can totally see a guy like that saying, "The gun is good, the penis is evil."
Yeah, I mean, he's literally just a cult leader playing around with the barbarian hordes that exist in this dystopian post-apocalyptic future.
It's it's well written, is what I mean. Like even if it might be well written in the sense that like someone can argue it's not executed well, maybe, but I think it's just go for what the style. The film has style.
Well, you know, I think the film Jeffrey Unsworth shot it. The cinematography in that movie is incredible. I mean, the funny thing about Zardoz in particular is it's a movie that has the meme of it all. How it's all memeable. You've got your stone head, but the images over the opening credits when you're listening to Beethoven's Seventh Symphony and you're watching the stone head floating, it's absolutely gorgeous. And and this idea of when people actually sit down and watch Zardoz, the problem, and I think this is problematic with a lot of dystopian science fiction films from the 70s, is that it's really because the movie has been memed so much and it's been made so much fun of in modern day, you know, in our world today, that it's very difficult for people to wipe all that clean and go in cold and watch that film for what it is. And, you know, I saw that movie when I was a kid on TV, and I was fascinated by it because, you know, these bored immortals that we just, you know, we have everything. They might as well be bored rich people on an island vacation somewhere, you know, and we're staying away from the flotsam and jetsam of the normal people on the mainland. You know, it has a whole, and they just want to die. And there's so many interesting things going on in it. And yet nowadays, I just don't think it's unfortunate because it's hard to get people to go back and watch that stuff and take it seriously. Star Trek has the same problem. Going back and watching original Star Trek, it's very difficult. And as you know, going back and watching Ultraman, going back and watching kaiju films or Japanese science fiction, it's hard. Doctor Who has the same problem. You go back and you watch 60s Doctor Who, it's hard to get through for people.
Now, something interesting about Ultraman is it hasn't really tried to change as much as Star Trek and Doctor Who have.
No.
And I just was watching that, Lazy Town. I watched the song from the last episode because that was a big internet meme. But I also just love the actor who played Robbie Rotten, who passed away like 2 years after that episode aired because of cancer. And I was like just enjoying the set design in the music video of that show. It's a kid's show, but it was made in Iceland, and so it's a product of Iceland,
right?
And those effects they're using, it's very, very similar. Like that show has appreciation in Japan. They would call it a tokusatsu.
Right.
And like they're using very similar effects, the way the Ultraman fights the monsters and everything. And like it's stage. I think that's part of it. Like there's so much realism in today's movies, people don't know how to use their imagination to appreciate a stage performance or a film imitating more stage stuff. Like that's even why in Power Rangers, you know, when they do their poses and everything and declare their names, that's Japanese theater where a character goes up on stage.
Yeah, kabuki theater. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I mean, you go back and you watch, there's a lot of Japanese horror like Kwaidan, which is using classical Japanese stories, and they're movies, but they're done very theatrically, stage bound, things like that, but they're beautiful. And a lot of people, I've tried to get people to go back and watch this stuff, and they look at it, it's not for them, you know. And again, that's why I always say that people have to be trained to watch things, because if you don't have any background or any understanding of what it is you're going in to see, you immediately reject it. I've had the same problem when I've tried to get people like Major Chai Chai's here. She went back and watched Antonioni's stuff. But I've had people, I'm like, look, when you go back and you watch Tarkovsky, definitely an acquired taste. My friend Rob G has been going back and watching his Criterion Bergman box set, and he's like, wow, I didn't realize how accessible these early Bergman films actually are. And it's, again, you just have to know. You have to know what it is you're going into. I think that's why having a little education about things before you go see them is better. But nowadays, people are so quick to dismiss it. Oh, if it doesn't capture my fancy in 2 or 3 minutes, I'm out, which is too bad.
Thanks for joining us, Johnny. We've got Matt from the End Podcast coming up next. Matt, you should be able to join us now. Welcome.
What's up, man?
Hello. I'm good, mate. As always, a little bit nervous to start with, but I'm sure I'll find my feet once we get going.
Come on, you're a podcaster.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I'm in control of that, and I'm like the producer, researcher, editor, and all that, host, and all that kind of thing. But I wanted to talk to you about one of the films we watched for this week's episode, but I just wanted to talk about something that you said then first. I think with Brubaker and the fact that he created the Winter Soldier and he made like an outstanding run. I think he went for 5 omnibuses, and he actually took the brave step of having a Captain America for 12 months without actually Steve Rogers. And yeah, I mean, whether or not you think that the Winter Soldier is an original character or not, I think he did something very different for it to be talked about in that way. Now, with Brubaker and Sean Phillips, I think that before they did that run, they didn't really have any reputation. So
Right.
I think when you work for Marvel, it's not about the financial collateral of being a staff writer. It's about the reputational collateral that you gain. In the same way that Remender and Hickman, going up to probably about 2010, 2015, that they gained so much reputational collateral for doing iconic runs on. Obviously, with Hickman, he did Fantastic Four. He did the Avengers up to Secret Wars. So I think while there isn't remuneration for their work and for their invention, that the reputational collateral is where it really comes from. I think the only thing that I didn't like about Brubaker was that they offered him, I think it was like $2,000 when Winter Soldier came out, and he refused it because it was an insult. So I don't think it's as straightforward as I've created this, I deserve more respect sort of thing.
No, I think it's a real, first of all, great comments. I mean, I totally agree with you. I mean, look, I found Hickman through his Avengers and his Fantastic Four runs, but by buying the omnibuses, and I didn't, because I kind of got out of buying comics every week in the teens, like 2012 or something. I just been buying comics for 30 years, and it got to the point where you've read so many comics that people just are like, the X-Men have just repeated. You can't. And when I got to Hickman's run on X-Men, it was so weird. I loved it. It was so different and strange, but I'm like, this was a great evolution. The whole Krakoan era, anything that he didn't write, it fell apart. But the stuff that he started, I liked it because it was so new. How do you make a new X-Men story?
And I haven't read any Hickman. I think I did the is it the Black Sunday or the Black Monday collected editions he did through Image, where it's kind of like the financial collapses of the last 100 or 200 years all happen in a sort of pattern, and it was very sort of conspiratorial.
Yeah.
Now with that, he does, you know, the sort of the scientific pages where he does like the flow charts and the dates and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was my only experience of Hickman before we started writing the X-Men. Now I really liked the era just before because it was headed up by who was it? Because you had Kelly Thompson, Ed Brisson, Matthew Rosenberg. Matthew Rosenberg, who at the same time was doing like one of the best Punisher runs that I've read since probably Garth Ennis. Now, because he was given carte blanche and because they knew that Hickman was coming in, that I actually was a bit nervous about it, and I didn't realise, like through his Fantastic Four and through his like the Secret Wars and Adventures stuff, that, you know, it's an accumulation of ideas and then it all ties together at the end.
Yeah.
And he said in interviews, we actually had an interview with Jerry Duggan and I asked him about it. I said, were you surprised that Hickman was so honest in his interviews that he said that I'm surprised that we got away with doing an X-Men, like the main title, without actually having an X-Men team. And because it's true though, isn't it? For the first few volumes, the X-Men was kind of like a series of vignettes.
Yep.
And I think with you always had about 6 or 7 titles ongoing, and I think it was very sort of hit and miss. And I gave up before the end because it became a little scattergun, and all the things I wanted from Hickman to try and pull it together, it just seemed. Well,
he left. You know, and all those ideas were spun off into the other act. I felt like I was reading. I mean, I collected. I don't have all of it, but I went back and collected the hardcovers of the Hickman era, and you could tell that the other writers were just not up to the task. They just didn't get what Hickman was trying to do, and I mean, some did, but I and then when that era was over, when the crowd, I did love the one comic where Orcus finally made their move and destroyed the X-Men at the Hellfire Gala. That was great. But then the books afterwards, I was totally disinterested. I hated them.
I would say that the Ben Percy stuff, the X-Force and Wolverine, was spectacular.
Yeah, those were good.
Percy. And the zombie series he was doing in AWA as well at the time, like is it Year Zero or something? I think he understood what Wolverine and X-Force was about. But it kind of felt that, you know, especially the who's the really pretty hipster girl? He did well. Anyway, the point I was making is about that. But I just wanted to speak to you about one of the films from the episode that we take today. Now, Warfare. I saw the cast. I saw the trailer, and I thought it was going to be like a little bit of a run and shoot kind of rescue film.
Nope.
Nope. I love the Terrifier. I love the Terrifier films. I absolutely love them. I think they're grotesque. The kill scenes are things that you wince, look away. I mean, that bedroom scene in Terrifier 2, it got the what's the horror magazine that's out each month?
Fangoria?
Yeah, Fangoria, that got Kill of the Year. And there were scenes in this that made me look away. I was in almost an empty cinema. And then it got more and more visceral, more and more verisimilitudinous. And by the end of the film, because I didn't realize it was based on a true story, and I tried to time getting there, and I missed like the first minute. I got there when they were watching Call on Me, and I was frozen in my seat at the end of it. And I felt like overwhelmed with emotion. I didn't know whether to clap, to stand up, to speak to somebody. And the only other time that I've ever felt that frozen after a film was as a student when we got Cannibal Holocaust out by mistake. And I walked out of the screen, and I spoke to the bloke who checked me in, and then I went into the toilet, and I felt overwhelmed with emotion, and it wasn't like sad or unhappy, but I felt like shit. I'm going to cry. I'm going to start crying. So I had to go to a cubicle, and it just poured out of me.
Wow.
It was kind of like I couldn't deal with the pressure of all the emotion and the tension stuck in the film, and it just came out, and it was ugly as well. It was proper wow. And then of course somebody came in, and I was just like, yeah, mate, just go.
Alex Garland would probably love to hear this.
I mean, I could talk about it ad nauseum, like all the small choices that they made, like having no score. I mean, that is almost worth nominating for best score at the Oscars, because
and the sound design in that movie is insane.
Oh my God! And you've got to see it in the cinema. Even like after the rescue vehicle is hit, and then the attention to detail is the people that were further away. It's just ringing. And the closer and closer you got when it was going from person to person, was kind of like a complete fuzzy blank out. Honest to God, I've never been that affected by a film in the cinema. Ever.
No, I'll tell you something. It's interesting. It's silly kind of maybe to say this now. The closest thing that I can say is when I saw Platoon for the first time, I saw it in a huge Cinerama theater. I took a date too. She and I, was a girl named Kelly. And that was the combat in that, was so relentlessly realistic, and it was like watching a horror movie. And I kind of felt the same way about Warfare, in the sense that you're not watching, at some point, you're not really watching a movie. You feel like you're really watching, like this is happening right now. And it was overwhelming. It was beautifully done. I mean, I would say Warfare is a great movie because, again, it succeeded doing exactly what you want, what the filmmakers are trying to do. Alex Garland and the guy he was working with, his co-director, was one of the guys that it happened to, in real life. So they were restaging this event, and the way they did it, I've never seen anything that conveyed. I mean, I don't know what the realities of combat are like because I was never in the military, but I'll tell you one thing, I never want to be in combat after watching that movie. I mean, it was incredible.
Rob, I hope that if you took a date to Platoon, you weren't coming out of the cinema like a Naked Gun after when Leslie Nielsen. They do that scene in Naked Gun where Leslie Nielsen and Priscilla Presley are stepping out of a movie, and then the marquee shows that it's Platoon, and they're like,
yeah, no, it wasn't like that. It was Platoon was really, was really. I mean, it was harrowing.
It was intense. Yeah, I remember that. I saw that in the theater as well. So
yeah, and the sound. It was just scary. I'm like, I never want to be in combat.
Yeah.
Rob,
we've come to that time when we say goodbye to the friends on YouTube, but the Zoom chat continues. So
yes.
Remember, once again, this way, those of you who are not members, this is your little taste of what engaging with member chat is like. If you would like to join us, you just need to become a member for as little as $1 a month, and then you can get the Zoom link and join us in the actual Zoom chat. Rob, anything coming up that you need to let folks know before we say goodbye?
No, just that you can get True Noir, The Assassination of Anton Cermak. All 10 chapters are now available at truenoir.co. Right. And as the people who've listened to it, we've had a lot of great feedback. People say it's not a casual listen, which I like hearing because it is very dense. But if you want to have a different entertainment experience, I work my ass to provide something unique.
Yeah.
And, if you ever wanted to hear an audio drama that was made with the intent of making it sound like a movie without the pictures, True Noir might be your thing. If you like mysteries and you like history and you like historical mysteries, that's the way to go.
That's right. All right, everybody. Well, again, the chat continues for the members, but we say goodbye to our friends on YouTube. Until next time, take care, everybody.